So thanks for coming in, Kennedy. Do you want to just introduce yourself and tell us why you're running for president?
I'm Kennedy O'Brien. I'm a fourth year Bachelor of Arts student. I study Irish and History. I've been involved in the union since first year. I was class rep for the Bachelor of Arts degree, joint honours. I was class rep in second year again. Then when I came back from my Erasmus in Norway, I got involved in clubs and societies. I became highly involved in the International Society, and currently I'm the trips officer, and I've worked really hard with them, and we're currently the largest society on campus, and we work on integrating and welcoming students into the university. Because of these things, I think that I can incorporate more students into the university and get more activity from students involved in the union.
Brilliant. Well, that kind of rolls into my first question, which is, what do you think makes you the best candidate for president this year?
Well, I think that I've had a lot of experience in the union. I spent a lot of time working on different working groups. Like I'm currently involved in the referendum working group. I was involved with the budget working group for the C&S and class reps. So I've got a lot of experience. I also I remember how the union was in first year, and I think first year for me was the strongest year the union had while I was in college, and I think that had a lot to do with incorporating more students into it. Last year now we lost out on the communications officer and we lost the campaigns and services officer. I think that I'm an open enough person and likeable enough through my working with the International Society and as a class rep previously to get more people involved. So that's pretty much it. So
you say in your manifesto that you'd foster a better relationship with the clubs and societies. How would you go about that?
Well, firstly, I'd definitely give more supports to the clubs and societies and try to get more active behind them, more active involvement. This could be done by promoting their events even further on campus, which would attract more students in and make the university's events look bigger as a whole. I think just by using the experience that clubs and societies have, that we could make it a much better university experience. Like if you look in the stables throughout the week, there's a lot of events run by different clubs and societies. Now if we could encourage every club and society to get involved and have an event maybe once a week, once a month, then I think the student experience would be much better.
On that, this year the clubs and societies were asked to give a bigger capitation grant in order to run the union.
Yeah.
At the time, you weren't president, obviously. How did you feel about it at the time? And do you think that your opinion on that at the time would affect your working as president?
Well, I honestly agreed with the idea behind giving more towards the student capitation, because clubs and societies benefit a lot from the union, and I just felt that we could give a little bit more back. The union as a whole is clubs and societies and the students' union. If the union falls, clubs and societies will follow. If the clubs and societies fall, the union would follow. So we need to keep strong ties between the union and clubs and societies, or else it could be bad for everyone.
Brilliant. So you have a point in your manifesto about security on campus.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, security on campus I think is a huge issue. Now, for me personally, I have 2 years ago, or last year before my exams, I came out into the car park of the foundation building and a wheel was robbed off my car. Luckily, they left the nuts so I could put on my spare wheel and go home and sleep before my exam. Other things have been robbed off my car. There's a lot of bikes stolen on campus. There's a lot of break-ins on campus. There's been a couple of even worse incidents involving students on campus over the last semester. I think security really needs to be promoted this year. That could be renegotiating the contracts with Noonan Security, or it could purely be running more campaigns for students to feel safer on campus, because I think they should feel safe any time of day or night without having to worry about what's around the corner.
Brilliant. This year Paul McCutcheon, the Vice President Academic and Registrar, proposed replacing Charity Week with a ball. What
Yes.
would you think of that?
Personally, I think students should have that decision. Every student should be able to make that choice. Charity Week is about raising enough money for charity in one sense, but it's also a week that students get to relax a little bit. I would give the students a choice if I would run a referendum so that students would be able to tell us what they wanted without the union backing any specific side. We would give purely factual information. We would explain exactly what a charity ball would entail. Would it be like Trinity Ball, which would have top class acts, or would it be something less spectacular and we'd be losing out on Charity Week?
So you've got on that as well, you've got a point in your campaign manifesto about working groups and their involvement in Charity Week.
Yes.
Will you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, for Charity Week there was a working group that got involved to come up with ideas for Charity Week. Now, I was involved in that as well, and there was some fantastic ideas coming up with promoting it. Unfortunately, a lot of the ideas came about too late, so maybe we'll see them implemented next year. Now, my idea is not just a Charity Week working group. I've spoken to the current welfare officer, and he had a lot more pressure due to the SUSI grants and the financial impact on students. So he wasn't able to run some of his campaigns how he would have wanted to. Now, we lost the campaigns and services officer last year, whose job it would have been to run that. So I'd like to get students involved, create a working group for campaigns to help out all the officers.
Do you think that working groups within the union tend to be a little bit cliquey in that they're mainly made up of a group, actually a subgroup of class reps tend to make them up? How would you get, what I'm asking is, how would you get normal students, when I say normal I obviously mean students who aren't as involved in the union at the moment, how would you go about getting them more involved?
Well, personally, I think just I'd like to get feedback from the students online first. I'd like to get in there and meet the students. I'd like to get out to the busier places on campus, like the Red Raisins. I'd like to do more lecture addresses. Lecture addresses seem to be held for the big important weeks like campaign week or referendum week. I'd like to just get in there and meet them, ask them to get involved, meet students. Even if I'm finished here working, then go out and meet people. Like with the International Society, I helped get the membership up to what it was this semester. Myself and a few friends of mine, we spent the whole summer talking to international students and telling them about the university and getting them excited about coming here. Then we spent the first couple of weeks promoting our society, going into lecture halls, going into all of this and getting them actively involved, and that paid off dividends.
You'd bring that to the...
I would bring in that. I would really focus on getting out there and seeing the students.
Great. So do you have anything to say before we wrap up?
Well, if you like what I've been talking about, if you read my manifesto, then please vote for me. You can check out my manifesto on my Facebook page. You can look at votekennedy.info. So please vote for me.
Great. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.